The sharks are circling. Let's get cooking. Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
Listen up, inferior beings. I'm Maddy Grace, one of the three co-hosts of this podcast.
And today we will be selling out and playing the first part of Tales of Symphonia, stopping after we complete the scenes at Ossa Trail. But before we get to all of that, how is everyone's week?
I had a really weird week because it was good, but parts of it were really good and parts of it really sucked. I received contact from someone I had hoped would not contact me.
Rip.
So that was cool. More importantly, a couple of really good things happened. First off, I had a performance in Final Fantasy. There was this event that a friend of mine ran called Eorzea Vision, and the reason that it started was because last year, due to COVID, Eurovision was canceled. And they were really, really bummed out about that, so they were like, fuck it, I'm making my own Eurovision, and I'm doing it in Final Fantasy. And so they decided to do it again this year, and I participated in that, and that's what I was talking about before, with the song that you two don't know, apparently, plebes, called Yata. So I performed that on Kaito, and I won third place.
Oh, yeah.
So I won myself a $15 or less item from the Final Fantasy store.
A $19 Fortnite card.
Yeah. I went into that going, I'm not gonna fucking win anything. I'm in here memeing, and nobody's gonna care. But the fact that I had audience participation, gave me extra credit essentially.
Yeah.
And then
it's the third rule of Dr. Corpy. Dr. Corpy's laws is if you can't make it good, make it funny, and audience participation is like a sister to that rule.
Yeah.
You make everybody remember you, and then they'll remember you when it's time to vote, even if it's not necessarily the most skilled.
Yeah. And boy, did they remember it. After the judges afterward were like, I'm gonna be saying Yata in my head all fucking day. This is infectious. It's gonna be stuck with me forever. And the other good thing that happened was I got a fucking raise out of the blue.
Hell yeah.
Look at that.
I'm now making 10% more money than I was before.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
10%? That ain't
bad.
That ain't nothing at all.
Yeah. It's a pretty good chunk of change. So I'm very pleased. Yeah. So I'm making I've been making the most money of my life, but I'm now making even more of the most money of my life, and I feel really good about it. And I'm just very excited. So I'll the extra money that I make per year can cover the remaining amount of my student loans easily. It can cover and paying off one of our cars. So, I'm very, very happy with that. And even though some other shitty stuff happened over this last week, those two things were really good, and I'm feeling good overall.
Nice.
That's
Love
awesome.
this for you.
I do too.
What about you, Maddy?
I had an interesting week. A couple of things. Let's see, in no particular order. Last night I had a really good time. I have this friend who something was going on with her life today. Not today. last night, or rather, let's just say something was happening that was the fact that it was happening was going to be making her have a rough time, right? So she wanted someone to come to her. She wanted someone to hang out with her because of this news that she knew she was going to be getting, right? So we planned it, like, which is really good, good on her for knowing ahead of time that she was going to need some, like, emotional support on this day. So, like, on Tuesday or Wednesday, she messaged me, hey, are you free on Saturday night? And once she explained the seriousness of the situation, I was like, absolutely. And I blocked it off. I told my girlfriend, hey, I'm busy Friday night, after Saturday night, after 4 p.m., I'm done. I'm gone. So anyway, the two of us, we just hung out the whole, for a very long time. We went shopping, we got some food, and we drove out, and I saw the Pacific Ocean for the first time since I've lived here. You might think, now, Maddy Grace, don't you live right there on the bay? Well, yes, that's the bay, and that's not the same thing as the ocean. If I don't know if you know the geography of the area, but the East Bay is, the Golden Gate Bridge. Well, the Golden Gate Bridge spans the Golden Gate, which is an inlet of water, like a little water that goes between the ocean and the bay, and the bay runs north to south. So the bay is enormous, but it is connected through this little passage to the actual ocean. So I had not actually seen the ocean since living here. And I've never touched the water of the ocean, even in the 2 times I visited in the past. So I just thought it was just my idea. I was like, hey, you need something to distract you. Let's go watch the sunset on the west coast. We didn't make it by sunset. It was actually late at night when we got there, but it was really cool. We hung out, we looked out over the water, just chilled, sat on a rock. The waves were really crashing, so it was a little intense. And I had a really good time with my friend. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's all fine. Don't worry about the thing that was going on. It's all good. But
that's good.
Sometimes you just need a friend. And it made me feel good because makes you feel nice to be able to be there for someone when they need someone.
Absolutely.
In addition to that, I got a job, and I am going to be a second job. It turns out, if you want to work for UPS, the amount of time it takes from you clicking the apply button on the position you want on UPS and you having scheduled your first day of work is about 3 hours. They don't have HR. They decided, fuck it, we'll just have it all be done online, and then people can quit. If they don't like it. It's a little intense, so I'm starting tomorrow night at 10 p.m. I'm working Monday through Friday, 3.5 hour shifts or more. It could be more than that as well, but at 11 p.m. every night. 10 p.m. for training though, and then 11 p.m. once it's actually actual work time. I think I have 4 days of classroom training, followed by I think 3 weeks or so of like observation. Everyone that I've talked to says it's the hardest job they've ever had in their entire life, in terms of just pure physical exhaustion. So wish me luck.
Yeah.
I'm really scared. It's a big life change. It's really intimidating to do something like this. And also I am going to still be working my existing job. So I'm going to be working 2 jobs, which I haven't had to work 2 jobs in like 7 years. And it's not fun to work 2 jobs. Not fun at all. And things are and this is going to be a lot tougher than it was last time. So yeah, just wish me luck. I'm really excited, but also really nervous. And I've got my clothes, I've got my outfits. I've been trying to reset my sleep cycle, not successfully. I've been trying to stay up till 4 every night, which is great, except my body still wants to wake up at 7:30. And I thought that if I kept doing it enough times, eventually my body would get the fucking memo, and it hasn't. So the good news, though, is those 4 days of classroom learning, I'm sure I could take those times to really help me. That way, maybe I'm nodding off in class, but at least I'm not nodding off while a conveyor belt full of packages is coming at my face. Anyway, and the other thing is that I am officially running in my local chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America. Wait, hold on. Is that person in the packet twice? Oh, no. There's a formatting error. I didn't notice that. Anyway, I am officially running for steering committee. There's a 13-member steering committee who is like in charge of everything, and I'm running for one of the 13 seats. And I can repeat this joke. So I made this joke last year, but none of my comrades got it because they're not fucking nerds. I said, what idiot called it the East Bay DSA steering committee and not Organization 13? But yeah, I'm running to be a member of Organization 13. I had to spend last week writing my statement, like a statement saying, why you should vote for me. And I worked on it. And then the day that it was due, it actually was extended the deadline was extended by 24 hours, which was good because I was already done with it anyway. And I'm also running to be a delegate that our chapter sends to the national convention. Our chapter is pretty big, so we're sending 38 people. And I'm running to be one of those 38. And now, for the next 2 weeks between now and the convention, I have to whip votes. I got to talk to lots of people and tell them to vote for me. So that's going to be real fun. Although I'm a little annoyed because I think I might end up winning just because I'm a trans girl. And people think that they need to have diversity and vote for women and trans people, which actually makes me annoyed. So I would rather people vote for me because I have good ideas and they like me, instead of because of my identity. So kind of annoying. But regardless, yeah, we were trying to rank which of the people in my group were the most likely to win, and which people were the least likely to win. And I was like, I'm a little newer. I'm a little, I'm not quite as experienced as the two of you. I think that I'm probably the weakest candidate in our group. And they looked at me, they're like, Maddy. And I was like, oh, right. Okay, never mind. I'm going to win. Anyway, yeah, that annoys me. I think that's stupid, but whatever. So yeah, that's my life. My life is just going to be insane for the next 3 weeks or so. I've got the election. I've got me starting this new job, playing a new video game, which I had some trouble playing this game this week, like some technical problems regarding making it work, that I might or may not mention later. So just send vibes. Life is great. I'm happy, but boy, send vibes because I need them.
So I only had about 3 minutes to do it, but either Daxmid or Dim Dax is the best that I could come up for your Organization 13 name.
That's funny.
I think Dim Dax flows the most off the word.
That sounds really stupid, but it is funny.
Yeah, the other one I came up with
That makes me sound like I'm Dim Dax Dividome, owner of the Dividome.
That's why I liked it. The honorable mention goes out to Mixed Dad because it looks like an AIM screen name for my dad.
Mixed Dad is pretty funny. I can see myself going by Mixed Dad. I don't know if you know this, but trans girls love to ironically use male terms, but like in like a double ironic way, right? So like calling yourself a dad or whatever. I could see myself being Mixed Dad.
My week was spectacular because I got a couch and
nice.
Oh, you finally got the couch. Unlike last week, you did not have the couch.
Yes. So I took a trip through Vision and I killed Satan, and the goddess awarded me with my couch. And
I just watched Montero. All I can think is that you did a lap dance for him.
Yes, that's how you kill Satan.
You kill Satan, yeah.
But the couch is great. It's the Harlanda from IKEA, which comes in a bunch of tiny boxes, which is awesome because we have our front door is up 4 steps for no good reason besides the fact that the house was built on a hill. So it's up 4 steps that lead into a 3 right turn S shape to actually get into our.
That is a good couch.
Yeah, I really like it.
Cute. I'm looking it up, obviously.
But yeah, because the sleeper portion underneath it, that comes in its own box. The back of the couch and the cushions all come in their own box. The sides come in their own box, and the covers come in their own box. It made it all small enough to go through the garbage that is a vertical and horizontal zigzag. And super excited. So I spent a lot of time this week sitting on the couch and playing video games, which I really haven't been able to do in Wisconsin because our futon broke like a week after moving here, and that sucks. And so I've played a couple games, but I haven't been able to just like dive into anything on the PS5 or, as today, the PS3 when I was playing Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. But yeah, so I'm real excited about the couch. I also have been doing... So I taught myself how to do vector tracing for animes. And much like Matsumayu, he was the first one that I saw, and I was like doing it a long time ago. And now there's a whole bunch of people doing it on DeviantArt, and I'm sure that they are all copying him because I saw him do it first. They do it first. I don't know the gender there. But so I've been teaching myself to do that so that I can make my Plex server look really nice. And so my Plex server has a lot of really awesome art, and a lot of it is done by me, and it makes me really happy. I'm really proud of that. But other than that, just been working, and right now I am the one taking notes for both Kiseki and Tails, so that sucks. So I've also been writing a shitload of notes, and when we're done tonight, I will be writing some more because we record Kiseki tomorrow. But both of these games are spectacular, so I'm not mad. It's just a lot of words to put on papers.
And at least this game you've already played.
Yeah, and both of them are games I've already played. So. Oh
yeah, that's right. So that probably helps a little bit.
Yeah, because I can, while playing Kiseki, I use the speed up and like can skip through the cutscenes a lot, and then I'll just go back and write the notes when I like with the Let's Play or whatever to remind me of it. So it's not been bad, but it's annoying that they lined up. So let's do something that's not annoying and talk about this video game. We're going to listen to some music. I haven't decided which one yet, but then
let's do the anime opening.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. We will use the second anime opening because we'll get to it. This game has 3 versions and they all have their own intro. But we'll use the second one because that's the one that's on the version that we're all playing. And then we'll talk about the game.
All right, real quick, I think we should say what versions we're playing. So what are the 3 versions? Or just like, Sam, are you going to give like a lead up? Like, what's the deal with the game?
Getting all the lead up. Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool, go for it.
Cool. All right, so my notes say Tails is the 5th Tails game. Sure it is.
Cool.
Tails, the fox from Sonic.
Yes. So
Tales of Tales.
Exactly. I would play Tales. I would play Tales of Sonic. Like, not even lying. Like, use the variation on this battle style, but mix it in with Sonic Battle from the GBA. Because Sonic Battle from the GBA is surprisingly good. And mix those together, and that be your fighting random battles, and then you have RPG over with all the skits to have your huge cast of characters all hang out. I'd play that. Sounds like it'd be a good, fun time. Coming up next is Sonic the Dark Brotherhood.
Yes.
All right, let's actually start. All right, so Tales of Symphonia is the 5th overall Tales game, and it's the series jump to full 3D. But as I found out while I was writing these notes, it's not the last 2D mainline game, and not in the same way that Zelda like counts their handhelds as mainline games. But the very next PS2 game after this one came out on the GameCube is PS1 style, where it's Xenogears looking, and it's weird that
what's it called?
They went Tales of Rebirth. It does not have a fan translation, unfortunately. But yeah, so it's the second to last game before they were a full 3D anime.
Oh fuck! These graphics are gorgeous.
For Rebirth, yeah. Rebirth looks
so I just wanted
good.
To bring that. I just felt like looking it up. Wow, that's some good graphics.
Yes. So, Tales of Symphonia was originally came out for the GameCube, but it had a PS2 remake shortly after. That is bizarre because the PS2 remake is better in all of the Persona 3 FES ways, but worse in the fact that the GameCube had better graphics than the PS2. So the PS2 had to run it. Yeah, it couldn't run it. So it runs at 30 frames a second instead of 60. It has like extremely long load times for every battle because the PS2 takes a long time to load all of its graphic stuff, and it like buffers its AMVs that it added and stuff, and it's like FMVs, they are anime, so I guess it counts. But so it's like it added all this cool shit, but it's like it was kind of a worse version, which I thought was weird. And then down the line, they released it for PS3 and PC, and that is the version that we are all playing. And the PS3 version is the PS2 version plus some tie-in stuff to the PS3 games of Tales of Grace's F and Xillia and Abyss, which isn't a PS3 game, but it had come out after. But they like back added costumes and stuff like that. But
the Steam version that I've been playing has been really good so far.
Yeah, the Steam version I feel may be the definitive version because they use the original font, as far as I can tell. Mm-hmm. Does your font look like is yours a serif font or like a handwriting font?
That's a good question. Let me see. It is a serif font.
Okay, so never mind. I guess that was a mod I saw or something. But I think it is because it was on the thing I was sending you on. In case it crashes, here's the fix for it. I think that fix includes the original font as part of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
But so yeah, they're probably exactly the same then. But one thing that's really cool about Tales of Symphonia, or the Tales series in general, is in Japan or whatever, the back of the box, when you put the genre of game, you can put whatever the fuck you want there. There's like no governing body that's like you have to be action, adventure, sports, or education or whatever. So every single genre or every single game has its own unique genre in the Tales series, and this game's genre is the resonating with you RPG, which is super cool, dumb thing that they've been doing forever. It's so good. The game features character designs by Kosuke Fujishima and Daigo Okamura, and they're real good. I didn't expound on this in my notes. I just wrote down their names, so there you go. I don't know if this was their first one or their last one. I'm pretty certain it's the same team from Eternia, the game previous, but I don't actually know because I didn't write anything down about it. This game features the series' signature linear motion battle system, which basically means it's kind of like Street Fighter when you get into the battles. Not exactly right, but that gets you close enough to know what's going on, where you're facing your enemies and you can move around and you get combos and stuff like that. This one added, I forget what they call it. I think it's like circular angle linear motion battle system. It's a mouthful, but basically it makes it into Virtua Fighter, where you can dodge on the Z-axis. And so you're on a 2D plane while you're fighting, but that 2D plane might rotate around in 3D, which is pretty cool. Another thing that's crazy is the Tales series are all individual, like a Final Fantasy is, but this one is like 1,000-year prequel to Tales of Fantasia, the first game in the series.
Neat.
The ramifications of that I don't know because I haven't played Fantasia yet, but I did think that's interesting because none of the other games, besides the direct sequels, do that. Another awesome thing about the Tales series, because this is our first Tales game and that's our first thing like this at all, is it uses skits, and the skits are a big deal in the Tales games, so much so that the after battle ones aren't going to be there in Tales of Arise, and it was a controversy where people are like, well, what the fuck are we supposed to do when the battle's over? Just like get a you did it screen and move on like we're a fucking goddamn Final Goddamn Fantasy? And Bamco quickly was like, no, don't worry, that you will have like Xenoblade style after battle dialogue where like the battle will end and you'll start walking and they'll talk about the battle, which is an okay substitute. But the thing that sucks about the skits this time around is they were fully voice acted in Japanese and they were not in English to save file space and all that jazz. Sure, I get it. Except they didn't then make it where you proceed the text yourself, so you kind of have to be glued to the TV and not look away so you can read it, because there's no sign that the line has changed to like help you pay attention, and some of them go by super fast, so it's really annoying.
And
but
some of them are really slow, and
yeah.
You know something really weird and dumb? I didn't notice.
You didn't notice?
How do I explain this? I feel like I would just hit X, and then at some point it would go on to the next one, and like the 3-year-old that you give your controller, I just thought I was doing it. I didn't notice that it was that I didn't notice that it was going on at its own time and not on my button presses.
That's amazing.
I will admit, I did not engage in a lot of the optional skits. I kind of stopped doing them. Okay, first of all, I had a really busy week and was really rushing towards the end, so I was skipping them for that reason. But also, frankly, I don't love the writing in this game, so I was skipping them. Let's put it this way. I mean, you know me, how I play JRPGs. I talk to every single character and get every line of dialogue. But because I was in a rush, and because I didn't particularly care for them, I didn't feel bad about having to skip them. I was just like, oh, well, fuck it. So, since there were a lower percentage of them that I saw, that I think it slightly makes me feel a little bit less stupid for not noticing this issue. But anyway, yeah, no, I just did not notice. Also, I was generally playing at 3 a.m., so...
Yeah. Every other Tales game that I've played does have them voice acted in English, which makes them so much better. And Tales of Berseria, which is the most recent one, they play through your PS4 speaker on your controller, and you can keep walking and doing things while it does it. So it's kind of like
that's neat.
It's kind of like party speak while you're doing things, which I think is pretty cool. But this game was incredibly well received, and it consistently ranks in like top games of the GameCube and top Nintendo exclusive games. Yeah. And it was followed up with a sequel that was not as well received, so as usual, you can expect us to play it here and in the future, and all of us love it.
Oh, something I meant to mention. First of all, on the PS3, buying the game by itself and buying the game and sequel in a bundle are the same price, so might as well. Sam lied to me, and I'm not actually saying this to dunk on Sam. I'm simply saying it so that you, the viewer, are here. I don't have a PS3 because it broke last year, if y'all recall. So I had to get a new one, and Sam was like, "Oh yeah, the GameCube version is real pricey. So you should probably just get a PS3 and get the game." And I was like, "All right." And I just took his word for it, believing him, because I trusted Sam. And it turns out that was my first mistake. No, I'm just messing with you. I'm being extra. So I'm playing the PS3 version, but all I'm saying is, GameCube version, not that expensive.
I never said that it was expensive. I said that was an option. They're about this. It'd be about the same price as getting you.
You totally told me it was expensive.
No, it got the fucking best of Nintendo $10 re-release.
All right. Well, anyway, it's not cheap. It's not like $5 like a lot of games on eBay and Amazon from that era. It's like 60 or so. But like that's pretty good, right? Definitely cheaper than PS3. Anyway, okay, well, never mind. I apologize, Sam. And for the record, I wasn't actually upset. I was just being silly. But the point is, if you want to play the GameCube version, it's totally on the table.
Yeah, and the things that they add are just like the things that Chrono Trigger PS1 added, where it's like, oh, you get extra FMVs and some cool stuff here and there. It's not like the definitive edition by any means.
Yeah. So if you want to be OG style and just, you're just curious, feel free to play the GameCube version.
Yeah. But that's enough about the real world of this game. Let's go into its fake world of Silverant. So long ago, there was an old mana tree, but there was a big ass war and it got destroyed. So a hero who I don't think we learned the name yet. I don't know. I don't remember. Sacrificed himself to stop the war. So after the war, the goddess went to sleep because she's like, I'm fucking tired. Wars are a lot. But she anointed a chosen one to come and wake her to save the world every X years. And thus started the cycle of regeneration. Don't at me if I'm not exactly right on all of that. That scene is a FMV, so it is voice acted and no subtitles, and I cannot pause it.
That's
so
pretty
I was
much it.
Riding out the seat of my pants. So if something comes up later where I was wrong, I will definitely talk about it. So now in the present, we see our hero, Lloyd Irving, being punished in class and school. We don't know what for. Rain, the teacher, is teaching the class about the goddess cycle and how the chosen one seals the Desians away. And when the seal weakens, the Desians come back, and they are currently back right now. The current chosen one, Colette, is a girl in our class, and she's expected to receive an oracle today and begin her journey of resurrection for the goddess. While Rain is talking, there's a bright-ass flash from the chapel nearby, and she leaves to go check on it and tells us to wait here. We don't. And we run out to follow her with Genus, the smart kid, and Colette, the chosen one. Colette is a ditz and a klutz, and definitely not your cliche chosen one type. And that is very obvious right from the jump. Like, she is not Yuna whatsoever. And I love that.
Yeah.
Really nice design too. I like how she looks. She's good.
Yeah. So outside in the town, everyone is in hiding. The Desians have recently come through the town and are headed towards the temple, where Colette's grandmother is getting ready for the ceremony. We decide to go with Colette to the temple and protect her so that she can receive the oracle. So we head out to the world map and we get some tutorial battles. And Eli, do you hate the battles in this game?
Surprisingly, no.
Wow.
So, I will say I am kind of cheating because one of our dear friends in the Discord, Mr. Brendan Benjamin Button, what's his name?
Fraser.
Brendan Benji Button Fraser Jr.
Yes.
I wanted to get the full name right. Was very kind and sent us a link to a save file that had like a fuck ton of grade and New Game Plus unlocked. So all I had to do was start a game, create a save file, and then overwrite that save file with the files that I got from this Steam link. It gave me like it had like 11,000 grade in it or something. I was able to get all of the upgrades from it and that I wanted, which included 10 times experience gain and 500 extra health at the start of the game. And still had 8,000 grade left over.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
I also had over 7 million gold.
Yeah. What the New Game Plus does is instead of it just being you get to play the game again and have everything unlocked, you have to be good at the game at the end of the game to get everything unlocked. And so you can do challenge runs from it where you can get half the experience points, or you can get 1 experience per battle, but it's easier to keep up your combos and like stun lock people. So the different ways to do
that's neat.
to do hard modes and challenge runs and stuff like that. And with the save file, you could basically create an easy mode. And so I made a non-destructive easy mode. I did just the 2 times experience and the cooking skill from my save, because I'd beaten this game before. It was just my own. It wasn't the one from online because I'm on the PS3. But so I did that, and so I told Eli, I'm like, hey, you could do these and it won't destroy your game. And he goes, that's nice, dear. I'm going to break this game wide open.
I'm going to annihilate this fucking game.
The only advice I have, and I'm playing just regular PS3, no mods or anything like that, don't play it on hard mode.
I'm not.
I
Definitely
tried
not.
clicking on. I never played this fucking game before, right? Oh, also, I did play a lot of this without any sound, which, you know what? I used to be. I really love sound and music in games. I think it's like the most important thing. And when people are like, "Oh, I'll play the whole game without sound," I'm kind of like, "You're a psycho." And yes, I know that I'm talking to Sam here, but
Yes.
but I'm realizing when people are like, "Oh, I just listen to my own music because I don't like the music or whatever." Well, first of all, I don't like the music. I don't want to play a different game. I don't know. I have no sympathy for games with bad music. Come on, there's so many great musicians out there. It's not hard to get good music in your game. Why? Anyway, whatever. Why? Well, a game should have good music, or I don't want to play it. But anyway, people are like, oh, I listen to my own music while you're playing. I'm like, that's bizarre to me. But playing a game completely silent with no music or anything, I found out just this week there's an appeal to it. It may, especially a game that's very reading heavy, because it feels more like you're reading a book. Like I didn't for a while, I didn't even know what parts of this game were voice acted and what parts weren't, because it didn't matter to me, which means I had different voices in my head. Anyway, it's nice playing at 2 a.m. Nice, it's like nice and contemplative. It feels like reading along a book. It's very, very peaceful. Anyway, in addition to that, I decided to play on hard mode because I like games that are hard. I like when games are hard. I heard this game's battle system was actually really cool, so I wanted to make sure I got the most out of it. It's really hard. Hard mode kicks your fucking ass. Like, I could barely beat a single battle. And of course, the game also, I will say, not to complain too much, the game doesn't explain itself very well at all. And the PS3 version doesn't come with a manual. The GameCube version does, although it's not a very good manual. So I was having, like, the game does not tell you what the fuck to do in its battle system at all, which is very annoying. It definitely tutorializes other stuff, but it doesn't tutorialize the basic tenets of its battles.
There's the synopsis menu that breaks down a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's about as good as you get.
Yeah. So I had to do, and the thing is, like, with a lot of games, this isn't Dark Souls where, like, figuring out is the point. No, it's like they just didn't do it. It's just bad writing. It's just not good localization of the tutorial parts of the. It's just not a well written manual. So I went ahead and just looked at game FAQs and was like, how the hell does this battle system work? And that helped a little bit. Point is, don't play it on hard mode. Turns out normal mode is plenty difficult, actually. It's you gotta put some brain. You gotta be careful. I had to use my, like, revive items in a couple different situations. I only got a couple game overs, but, like, okay. So if you're the kind of person who likes to play games that are hard, just go ahead and go with the default setting, because you'll be fine.
Yeah. So the beginning of the game, you get free heals at Colette's dad's place. He's like, stop by if you need to rest. And you're like, why would I do that? So I guess the intent was for you to get bum rushed by a whole lot of monsters right out of the gate, run back and heal a couple of times, because this first you fail and then you don't fail boss coming up destroyed me and Summer. Like, so while we were going through, we didn't go back to Colette's house. We just used our items like idiots. And so we got there, and the guy, which I'll get to, the guy, like, killed Lloyd and Colette, who we were playing as, in the first hit. And then we just had to watch Genus fail slowly for the next very long time. And then it gets to phase 2, where the other person joins your party, and he has a heal. So he heals Genus and himself, and it just prolongs the inevitable. And he ended up winning with, like, we had to watch the AI play all by itself the entire battle, and he won with one HP left over.
Sucks when that happens. I hate that.
Yeah. Every other Tales game I've played, you just press a D-pad button and you go to the next character, so you don't get stuck where you just
That's
have
the
to.
Thing. Speaking
watch
of
it happen.
bad tutorial and manual writing, it took me forever to find out that you couldn't do that, because there's a lot of things in the manual that are like, press this button to like switch characters, and what they meant was switch to a different character in the menu to give them a command, but they're literally like, this button switches characters, and I'm like, I can't switch characters. What are you talking about? Turns out, no, you can't switch characters.
Yeah, it's a lot of firsts going on. If you are playing along with us and you're like, I'm a little frustrated at it, and you aren't us who have to play this for the next 8 weeks, stop playing and go play Tales of Grace's F. It's also $10 on the PS3, and it just improves on this one in basically every way.
Nice.
So,
or if you're committed to playing this one, like if you're not cheating, I would just say look up a game FAQ that explains the mechanics, because that helps a lot.
Yeah. Anywho, so we make it to the temple, and there's a big old light pumping up out of it, and an old man curled over in pain also pumps up out of it, and he informs us that the Desians have attacked the temple. So Colette's like, well, I guess I have to go walk into this dangerous situation all by myself, and we're like, no, we're going to come with you. So we run up to the temple, and we run into a group of Desians led by some Vegeta-looking motherfucker named Boda. And they attack us and kick our ass. And then our own personal Vegeta named Kratos shows up, and he saves us.
From God of War.
Yep.
Yes.
Shows up in this game.
Yep.
Which again, I was playing the game without any sound for a while, so I was surprised to learn that it is in fact Kratos and not Kratos.
I originally played this with voice acting, and I still call him Kratos.
It's just Kratos. We can just say Kratos.
I wish it was Kratos from God of War.
Yeah, if you want to imagine that the super over the top edgelord fucking guy with the chains on it around his, who attacked with chains, and every time he walks, you hear like the sound of like butt or like new metal. You can just pretend like that's who it is in the game. That's fine.
It's pretty close. But so he comes and saves us, and like I said earlier, only barely. And so after the battle, Boda and company are like, shit, he is here. Gotta blast, and run off. Grandma tells us that Colette's handler monks all have died. So we're like, well, we'll help her. And Kratos says, like, well, me too, if you pay me. He then pointedly asks Lloyd if his name is Lloyd, and Lloyd pointedly tells him to fuck right off. Kratos says that his name is Kratos and he is a mercenary, so he will escort Colette for the right price. We say that we'll go in, but he says, no, you'll get in the way. We start to argue, but then Colette steps in and asks him to let us come too. He relents, and we go inside. The temple is a real small dungeon centered around a single block puzzle that's pretty simple but really fun. We acquire our Sorcerer's Ring, which is a whole thing in the Tales games. It's basically their answer to tools from Wild Arms and Lufia. It's how you do all of the puzzles in the dungeon.
Field stuff.
Yeah. After we get the Sorcerer's Ring, we get into the Inner Sanctum, where the Crucius Crystal is. The Crucius Crystal is important for lore reasons, and it's how they knew that Colette was the Chosen, because she was born holding it, which sounds painful. But
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, like my sister-in-law, Brooke, she had to get a bajillion stitches because her daughter had her hands not around her stomach or palm down anywhere. She had her hands turned out, so her fingernails scraped on the way out.
Ooh.
Just imagine now birthing a completely non-squishy Crucius crystal that your baby is holding in its hands. That sounds like her mom died in childbirth.
Yeah.
The crystal starts to glow, reacting to Colette, and then down from the heavens comes a priest from the Dragon Quest series with wings stapled to his back. The angel is Colette's real dad, Remiel, who is here to guide Colette on her journey as chosen so that she can awaken the goddess Martel, who sleeps at the center of the world.
The goddess Catherine Martel.
Yes. Goddess Oberyn Martel is a backup joke. But, he does some ritual thing, and the Tower of Salvation, a huge-ass Corrin's Tower looking ivory tower, sprouts out of the ground in the distance. They use an FMV to show it, but not that show it sprouting out of the ground. And the world map has a very close view on purpose. You get a zoomed out one in a second when you get your first vehicle, but it's super zoomed in. So I didn't realize that it wasn't there until all the NPCs are like, "Oh my god, the Tower of Salvation showed up." I was like, "Oh, I thought they were just showing it to us because it didn't burst from the ground or anything."
Also, hey, remember how I was mentioning either last week in the episode, or I don't remember if I mentioned this on the air or if I just mentioned it when we were chatting, but I've been mentioning how this season felt very coherent and that there were a whole lot of themes and visuals and aesthetics and concepts that just keep repeating a whole bunch. Well, here we've got a big tower.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
It's our...
I'm guessing in this game it's not going to be 50% of the game.
Let's see. We had a big tower in Chrono Cross. We had a goddess tower in Lunar.
And
we had...
East.
Oh, East was last year.
Oh, that was pre-Chrono. Okay, never mind. 'Cause that was the main tie I was making. Right, was the East. Okay, you're right. Sorry, I forgot that was last season.
There also was a Tower of the Goddess, same deal, like this exact scene in Brave Story.
Mm-hmm, so I sure was.
I don't remember if there was a tower in Septerra Core, but I mean, there's the spine of the world, so it counts.
Yep. Lots of towers.
Lots of towers this season. This is the tower season.
Yeah. This is our tower phase.
Yeah. So,
or tower period.
Yeah. So Colette's journey is to unlock the seals that lock the tower and then climb it up to heaven. And each seal that she unlocks will make her more into an angel. And when she's full angel, the world will be regenerated.
You never go full angel.
You never go full angel. He tells her that the first stop is the fire seal to the south, and then he leaves. So Colette and Kratos return to town, and Colette asks Lloyd to stop by her house later. Lloyd and Genis make their way back to town with shenanigans on the way. In town, we see the mayor and Colette's family discussing that they'll hire Kratos and send Rain, the teacher, to protect Colette. Lloyd is like, well, I want to go, and Kratos again insists that he'll only get in the way. All of the grown-ups are like, yep, Lloyd sucks. And Lloyd's like, well, fuck, I guess I'll just fucking go home then. Colette follows him out, and she apologizes, and Lloyd's like, no, it's no big deal. And Genis is like, oh, I almost forgot. Happy birthday, Colette. And Lloyd's like, oh, shit, that's today? I haven't finished your present yet, but I promise I'll get it to you before you leave. And then Colette walks away, and Genis is like, so you haven't started yet, have you? And he's like, no, but if I start right now, I'll finish right before she leaves tomorrow. So on the way out of town, the guards are complaining about a monster, but it's just our big old pupper, Noish. He is Noish is how the single time it's voice acted says, but it's Noish.
Yeah,
Noish.
Noish cock.
He is obviously a monstery demon of some sort, but he's just a sweet big old pupper.
He's just a big old doggo.
He is simply a little guy.
And the guards tell us
a friend.
The guards tell us to keep away from the human ranch that's on our way home and to keep Noish away as well. We don't do that. Genis's friend that he needs to stop by and see is an old woman named Marble who is enslaved at the ranch. This game went from happy cliche save the world with the chosen one to slavery being a real thing.
And they're like right over there. It's like, oh yeah, there's like a human in like internment camp, just like one screen that way. It's chill. We have, but we can't buy. This whole game they keep talking about violating the
aggression treaty.
Well, is that what they call it? Okay, yeah. Which is just funny to me because it's one word away from the non-aggression pact, the NAP, which is the thing that libertarians are always going on about. And like obviously non-aggression treaties are real things in the real world. It makes total sense. But like every time they start whining about it, I just think about like fucking Rand Paul being like, I don't know, like getting the shit out of him, and he's like, "You're violating the
NAP." So him giving her food will violate the treaty, which is that Asalia won't get their children stolen and put into slavery as long as they let slavery exist. And it's fucked up. So Genus, having a soul, realizes that's fucked up, and he's been sneaking food to Marble anyways. So they're catching up about the Oracle and the Tower of Salvation and stuff, and Lloyd notices that Marble has an X-Sphere, which is an as yet vaguely explained sort of magic focus that Lloyd and Kratos use for their special moves. Lloyd says that X-Spheres need to be controlled by a key crest, but Marble doesn't have one. He says that it'll make her super sick if she keeps using it, so he'll go get his dad, who is a dwarven blacksmith, to make her a key crest.
So she's going to be fine.
Yeah, she's going to be totally fine because Lloyd is talking about a thing that is about to happen. So just then the guards start coming, so Lloyd and Genus bail, but the guards start to beat Marble senselessly, like actually senselessly. She's like, I'm sorry, I'll get back to work. And they're like, oh, looks like someone has an attitude problem. And I'm like, how else was she supposed to apologize? Like, she said, I'm sorry. Like, how is that being mean? And it's because they're evil.
They're assholes. They're all just a bunch of assholes.
They're the villains of the piece, in case you couldn't figure that out yet.
Guess what? They're the bad guys.
They're bad.
Duh.
They're bad. Lloyd and Genus see this happening, and they decide to save her by Genus shooting a fireball from hiding, and then Lloyd running off. So they can't really tell who it was, and they'll follow Lloyd, and Genus can get away to safety. But Genus is a dumb kid, and as he tries to sneak away, he trips and says, whoopsie, and all the guards turn towards him, so Lloyd has to jump in and fight them. He figures that since he took out the ones that saw his face, they'll be okay, so they run out. Genus goes back to the village, and Lloyd goes to his dad's house.
I just want to put a pin on this. We kill so many guards in this game.
Yeah. And Lloyd specifically says, I took out the one that saw my face, so it won't be a problem. And it's, I killed some men.
This game, it is kind of the. Remember how Final Fantasy X, you were only fighting very, very explicitly only fighting monsters for like the first 20 hours of the game, and like. Anytime there was a villain, the villain would like summon monsters, and you'd fight them because the game's world building was like very, very coherent, and these people aren't the kind of people who kill people. And then eventually you crash Yuna's wedding, and there's priest guards, and you're just like, and then you just fucking start like brap, 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 just fucking icing them left and right. And after that point, it's like, no, we'll fucking kill anybody. We don't give a shit. This game does that about an hour in, and it's just like, oh, okay, I guess this teenager just ISIS people and definitely canonically murders them.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
And more importantly, he violates the NAP, which like
yes.
He did violate my nap. I had to play today instead of sleeping like I wanted right after work.
Right. So as they leave, a Desian with a big old buster gun for a hand reveals that he was watching the whole thing on the surveillance system that Lloyd and Genus were too stupid to look for.
Oops.
So at Lloyd's dad Dirk's house, Lloyd asks him for a key crest, and Dirk is like, who's it for? And Lloyd is real bad at lying, so he tells him that the person was at the ranch. Dirk gets understandably mad, but he leads not with "Are you all right?" or "Are you insane?" or "I'm disappointed in you," but with "You didn't let them see your X-Sphere, did you?" Because apparently Lloyd's X-Sphere is real special, and the Designs killed Lloyd's mom to get it from her several years ago. This is brand new information to Lloyd. He did not know this, and so he swears revenge on the Designs. And Dirk is like, "Don't go," and Lloyd does not listen. So he runs outside, presumably to go kill every Design right then and there. And all of his friends are there. Genus, Rain, Kratos, and Colette have all come to see him. Colette has something that she wants to talk about.
Either you forgot something or I misunderstood. So either way, or I misunderstood the game exactly. Isn't it the case that Dirk is not your real dad? He like found you or whatever? Okay, cool.
He is not our real dad.
So not only did our mom die, but also our dad or Dirk like found us after the mom died and was like, "Oh, the magic baby has a special key crest thingamajig." Are there any mentions of your actual dad, or is it just like, some lady died and had a kid?
Maybe.
Okay, I don't recall any mentions of Lloyd's dad this week, but okay, it was just a question that I had. So yeah, and Lloyd has a whole thing that he mentions many times about like how it doesn't matter who, family isn't blood, family is whoever, family is your family, right? Like that's something that he says like 50 times. Yeah,
one of my memorable moments. Well, I guess not. I didn't actually do it. Maybe I took a picture of it.
I may have taken a picture of it.
Was that Lloyd Kratos is like, "Oh, who's your dad?" And he's like, "My dad is Dirk, asshole." And I think that's pretty cool. But hold on, my notes for some reason just went black on black text like a fucking spoiler on a forum, and I can't fucking read it. So let me take that off. All right. Where was I? So Colette is there because she has something to talk to him about. So they decide to go up to the deck and talk. And Lloyd wishes her a happy birthday, even though he didn't finish her present on time. She says that it's fine. She's just glad that she got to live to see this day. And this game starts to foreshadow something that it doesn't reveal for a long time because our people are stupid. She tells Lloyd to not to come with her tomorrow because it'll be too dangerous, but he says that he has to. He thought that his mom had died in an accident, but turns out she was murdered by the Decyans, so he can't possibly live in a village that has a treaty with them. It's like, no, this is the most evil people. Why are you just letting evil happen? And she's like, okay, well, fine, you can come with. Meet us at noon. That's when we're leaving tomorrow. And he's like, all right, bet. And so the next morning, Lloyd wakes up and goes to talk to his dad, and Dirk gives Lloyd a key crest for marble. He's like, just know that I tried to stop you, but I know there's no stopping you. So here's the key crest. Go and save your friend. I wish you good luck. Always remember where your home is. And just then, Genus runs up and is like, Lloyd, where have you been? Colette and the others left at like 6 o'clock this morning, and you weren't even there to see them off. So Lloyd is like, well, shit, and they run off. So we get to the village, and we go to Colette's house to ask her mom and dad what's going on, and they tell us that Colette left us a letter. The letter says, "Dear Lloyd, by the time you read this, I will have already left on my journey. I'm sorry for lying to you. The world regeneration is full of peril. Many Chosens have failed. I care about you too deeply to let you get involved. I'm going to do my best to stop the monsters and the Decyans, so I want you to live a happy and peaceful life in the regenerated world. Thank you so much for your friendship and kindness all these years. I'm really lucky to have met you. Farewell, Colette." Lloyd says that it sounds like a will, and her parents are like, well, actually, but before they can say anything, there's a big-ass explosion. They all run outside and see that the Decyans are torching the town. They are looking for Lloyd. Buster Arm is there, and his name is Forcestus, and he is one of the 5 Decyan Grand Cardinals, all with capital letters, so that's probably important. He is after Lloyd for violating the NAP, and he will deliver justice by torching the entire village. Genus is like, but you attacked the princess, like, yesterday morning? And the Decyans are like, oh, I see. They must be after the Chosen. They bring out a, quote, appropriate opponent for our crime, and it is a huge, slimy, zombie, goopy alien thingy. We kick its ass, and the Designs then notice Lloyd's X-Sphere, and they say that it's from Project Angelus, and they demand it from Lloyd. He's like, no, it's a memento of my mom, and foresees this is like, oh, then your mother was... But again, important sentences don't get finished in this game. And
Lloyd would learn so much more about his life if just people talked slightly faster, or if explosions waited a half second longer to happen.
But while he's distracted, the giant monster grabs Forsythus and holds them. And we then hear a familiar voice say, "Run away, Genus. Run away, Lloyd." And it's Marble, the monster that we just made dead. Was Marble. She blows up, like, explosionally, and injures Forsythus, so the Designs retreat. And they say, we'll always come after you as long as you have that X-Sphere. The villagers are understandably not happy. They blame the attack on the town on Lloyd for breaking the treaty. Genus is like, it's my fault because I was the one feeding Marble, and they're like, good point, you're both banished. Colette's family asks us to hurry after and join Colette because maybe if we save the world, the village will forgive us. So we leave town and make our way across the world map, arriving eventually in Triette, a desert town. There, we see that the Designs are looking all over for Lloyd and putting up his wanted poster everywhere. Thankfully, the drawing is really, really bad, so we're free to walk around the town. Nobody knows it's us. It's hilarious. So at this point, so the PS3 version gives you bonus costumes from the other PS3 Tales games if you have save files, which I of course do. And so at this point, my Lloyd was dressed up as one of the characters from Tales of Vesperia because or maybe Tales of Abyss, I don't remember, but he's wearing yellow. And this part, they continuously talk about how much Lloyd's bright red clothes stick out, and he said that while in yellow outfit, which I thought was hilarious. But we eventually make our way to the fortune teller, who tells us that the Chosen's party are headed to the ruins that were destroyed by Ifrit, the fire spirit, bound by the first seal. Not Ifrit. Ifrit.
Very different.
It's Ifrit.
Yeah, it's 100% Ifrit.
Yeah.
We try and leave, but there are some Designs that recognize Lloyd. We fight them and kick their ass, but then someone zaps us with a zapper, and they take us to prison.
It's unfortunate.
This game's start to prison is pretty. Not a lot. It's not a lot. Every game needs a prison sequence. This game's start to prison is in video game adjusted for video game inflation, about the same as Brave Story Traveler the movie, or Brave Story the movie, which also had a very short start to prison.
Yes. So as they're about to throw us in prison, Genus uses the "I'm just a kid" card, and they decide to let him go. He, of course, was just playing the card, and he decides that he's going to save Lloyd and go find the others. In prison, playing as Lloyd, Lloyd realizes that he still has a sorcerer ring, so he uses it to hit the guard, which somehow opens his door. I don't know, maybe he bumped it on his way out. But then we have a prison dungeon. It's our biggest dungeon so far this week, but it's not very exciting. The coolest part about it is that we temporarily upgrade the Sorcerer's Ring, which happens in most dungeons this game, where the Sorcerer's Ring will do something else besides shoot fire. Partway through, Lloyd, some guards are coming, so Lloyd darts into an open room, but inside there's a dude in a cape. He goes to mollywop us with his magic, but he sees our X-Sphere and he's like, "Oh, you must be Lloyd. I see the resemblance." But then, like every important sentence thus far, we're interrupted by Boda storming in and saying that the Chosen's group have infiltrated the building. The guy in the cape runs off, and Colette and the gang run in. We fight Boda and kill his ass, and then head back to the inn in Triette.
Boda, these nuts.
Wow.
Rain, after the fight, had picked up Boda's weapon, and it had an X-sphere in it, and she wants Lloyd to carve her a key crest on it. So Lloyd does, and he finishes super late at night and goes to bring it to Rain. Lloyd apologizes for dragging Genus into everything, but Rain offers some sisterly wisdom. She asks him, "Do you regret it? There's a difference between moral and legal, and you did the right thing, even if it ended up in tragedy. You can't change what happened, but you can change the world around you." I paraphrased. It's not exactly it. But, so Lloyd then goes to head back to his room, but he sees Kratos leaving the inn. Lloyd doesn't trust this motherfucker, so he follows after him, but Kratos was just looking at Noise. He says that he had a pet long, long ago, and that's about it. The next morning, we leave out to the ruins nearby because that's where the seal is. When we get there, there's a slab on the ground that's different from the rest of the material. Colette puts her hand on it, and it opens up, so we get to go inside.
Hell yeah.
This dungeon is a fun little puzzle where you use the sorcerer's ring to raise and lower platforms to get all the goodies. And at the end of the dungeon, we fight the seal guardian named Cthugach, and he goes down eventually. After the fight, Remiel, the angel from earlier, shows back up and grants Colette the power of an angel, which gives her some super pretty purple wings and a new spell in battle where she can like fly around and beat some shit up, which is
it's
cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
Remiel tells us that the next seal is across the sea, and he leaves. So we're like, okay, we need to go get a boat, and we make our way out of the dungeon. But on our way out, Colette collapses. Lloyd is like, we have to take her to the hospital, but she's like, no, I just need some rest. So we make camp at the ruins. Then we get to Legend of Dragoon and hang out with our friends and talk at a campfire. So this game owns. At the camp, Colette says that she doesn't have an appetite and she's feeling super gross. And the scene ends with her staring at the sky saying, "What is happening to me?" In the morning, we head to Ossa Trail, which is a trail through the mountains that we have to pass through to get to the port town. And as soon as we get in there, a ninja girl in purple ambushes us and storms after Colette. And thankfully, Colette stumbles onto a lever for the maintenance hatch nearby, which knocks her down a super long hole into the maintenance tunnel. And the whole rest of the dungeon, Colette is like, I hope that she's okay and that she'll be our friend later. And we're all like, she tried to assassinate you? And she's like, yeah, I know. So I'll have to work really hard so that we can be friends, because Colette is nice. At the end of
I definitely can't relate with wanting everyone to like you, even people who just very explicitly suck.
Yeah. At the end of the trail, the ninja catches up to us, and we have a boss fight with her. And she was kind of hard. Her little summon pet, like, kicked my ass and had a lot of HP, and I couldn't get it to die.
Yeah, I had some trouble. I learned. I've been learning about blocking in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Blocking is kind of important. Enemies don't do an amazing job of telegraphing their attacks. It's not as well done as it is in other games, like your actual action games, for example. But they're not terrible at it. It is possible to read the enemies' attacks. It's just not always doable. But yeah, playing defensively, edging away from them constantly. It was a pretty fun little battle.
Yeah. After she goes down, she swears to kill us later, and she disappears. We ask who she could be, but we all have no idea. Kratos and Rain both mention her clothes, but don't finish those sentences either. And then at this point, we make it to the small fishing port of Isolde, where we stop for the day.
And that's it.
So let's listen to the battle track and get it out of the way. It's pretty good. I just listen to it a lot. And so we'll listen to that, and then we'll get to our Mim Moms. Anywho, Mim Moms. So this game has a titload of skits, like a surprising number, and like it doesn't have quite as many as Tales of Graces does, and Tales of Graces has over 400. I know because while I was waiting for summer to get ready when we were going to sit down and play this, I was leafing through. Graces has a post-game museum where you can go back and watch all the skits and all of the cutscenes, and it had over 400 in there. So there's a lot, and most of them are a setup for a punchline and a joke. So my main memorable moment going forward will be all of the skits, but I'll pick just a few to talk about. So there's right at the beginning, there's an optional scene in the classroom where because there's glaring in the face, the entire cutscene previous is a Colette shaped hole in the wall. And when Colette finally joins your party at the end of that first little scene, if you take her over to the hole in the wall, it's this little story about how she slipped and fell and busted a hole in the wall or whatever. And
she is such a klutz.
And she gets her first title in the game called Klutz, which gives her a bonus to, I think it's accuracy and HP, but don't quote me on that. But it gives her a title bonus. And it was at that exact point that I stopped using the costumes, because the costumes you equip by changing your title, but those titles don't give you any bonuses. So sorry, I have to min-max. So I put...
Oh, Colette. I didn't even realize how to do that. I need to...
So the status screen, if you tab to right under their name, it'll say whatever their current title is. You can click that and pick from there, and it'll highlight at the bottom what it gives you a bonus to.
Oh. See, when you call something a title, I assume to me that just sounds like just fluff, you know?
It is an incredibly deep system in the Tales series. Like, titles are... It's like the main thing it does for menus.
Gotcha.
Like Tales of Graces, you like level up your titles the longer you're in them, and those are how you like unlock skills and passive buffs and stuff like that. It's very very involved.
It reminds me of like I was thinking it was like Dragon Quest IX has titles, and the titles are just. They're achievements. It's just that the DS doesn't have achievements, right? So they just like made up achievements. But no, okay, turns out the whole thing. I will engage with that mechanic.
Yeah. There's a skit after you meet Remiel for the first time where Lloyd is confused because he's like, so where do angels put their wings when they're wearing clothes? Do they cut holes in them for their wings? Like, how do you make a jacket that can then be worn by an angel? And it's the questions I never thought to ask.
So I also saved that one, and what I thought was cute is that the name of the skit is Lloyd's Thoughts on Angels, and the idea, like, that is the totality of his thoughts. And Janice says what I was thinking, which is like, have you been thinking about this like the entire time? And he's like, yeah, it's really important. So like all this important stuff is happening where it's like, you know, like your best friend, like this girl who's like your best friend is like meeting her dad and being given her life goal. And meanwhile, Lloyd's just like, how does he put on his shirt?
Yeah. and the best part is this skit, it doesn't happen like the moment the party disbands and you met an angel for the first time. It's like it happens after
at the end of the dungeon, I think. After you exit.
It's right before getting into Azalea again. So it's after the scene with Rain that I glossed over, after the world map traversal, you're almost home. And he's like, yeah, I've been thinking about this for like 6 hours. How the fuck do they put on shirts? One more quick one, and then I'll let you guys go. The tutorial for how to do jumping puzzles is titled "What's the action button?" Which is just great, and I love it.
Speaking of this game's silly dialogue, I'm a bit medium on this game so far. I think the music is fine. I think the graphics. I think this game has. This is like the first game we've played in ages where I don't think it has incredibly beautiful graphics. I think the graphics are whatever. But its localization is also not particularly great. It's got some weird clunkers of some lines. The scenes tend to go on forever, I feel like. But it also sometimes, and that's not to say it's not without its charms. It definitely has a lot of charming parts too. But some of its clunker lines actually end up looping around to being really funny. And I think I have a couple of them. But the main one I have is when you go home and like the family of Colette they're like talking about stuff, Lloyd has this banger of a line which is, "Say, were you talking about the world regeneration journey just now?" Which I don't know, it's just such an overly lore sort of sentence. It doesn't flow off the tongue at all. I laughed. As far as connections between games, I like how he also, just like the main character, just like Surge in Chrono Cross, Goku, just like Goku in Chrono Cross, wants to make his girlfriend a necklace. Not actually his girlfriend, you know what I mean. He wants to make her necklace. But unlike Chrono Cross, where getting the necklace is your first dungeon, in this, he's like, "Oh fuck! I already forgot. I forgot to do it. God damn it!" And then it never gets brought up again, which I thought was cute. Let's see. In addition to that, I'll just there's the one I jokingly quoted earlier when unknown wait, darn it! I was gonna do a joking reference to
inferior
Dot Hack,
beings,
but who's but he looks like the guy from Dot Hack. With his stupid arm cylinder.
Ovan,
yeah. It was like Ovan.
Yes.
That Ovan motherfucker. Yeah, when he goes, "Listen up, inferior beings. I am Foreskin, one of the 5 Desian Grand Cardinals." And also, when everyone... I forget when this happened, but when everyone is being... I actually wish I'd gotten the context on this. I think it's the same scene. Yeah, in the same scene when the Desi and Green Cardinals are all being bad, and then they're talking about like they're like, "Oh, how can you keep letting slavery happen? You know, how could you?" Genis goes, he looks down and goes, "You humans are all the same. ... And I was like, he said normally, like someone who doesn't have a heel turn. I don't know if he's going to have a heel turn. I'm just saying that when the white-haired anime boy says, "You humans are all the same... ... I feel like that means 20 hours later he decides that humans suck and he should be a villain.
Surprisingly, no. Genus is just an elf. That's why he has white hair.
All right. Let's see. In addition to
You're onto something, though. Keep your eyes peeled. This is, in fact, an anime video game.
And then there was one more. I didn't get a screenshot of this. I only wrote it down annoyingly. But very early on, I believe when you're talking with the teacher person, who I thought was, I definitely thought was reading as a lot more masculine until I heard the voice acting. So at the very beginning, when she's giving you lore, she says something about like, you know, the hero came and he killed all of the Desians whom caused the war. And I think that's a classic example of the writers don't know the difference between who and whom. They just think that whom sounds fancy. So they had the smart character say whom, and I'm like, no, that's not how you use whom. And that was like the 10th line of dialogue in the entire game. So I was like, all right, this is where we're at.
Buckle up.
This is this kind of game. All right, that's all I've got.
I really like the jump puzzles in this game. I think they're very engaging. I think they're I really appreciate a game where it's just like press button to succeed. I overall, like, you all read off pretty much every memorable moment I would have written down if I remembered to write them down. But I didn't. I did really like the talking about angels and dressing themselves scene. I thought that was great. I'm just going to touch on this very briefly, and I'll try to be very gentle. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of the skits.
Yeah. They are 100% ruined by the fact that there's no button input and no voice acting here.
You should try being stupider like me.
Well, it got especially frustrating because I was stupid and I got lost on my way to the forest to go back to Lloyd's house. And so I got that unprompted bitching about going through the forest cutscene like a dozen times. And you can't skip it. And I'm just sitting there going, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, so where is this forest? Like, I've been going through a fucking forest this whole time. What forest? And then I finally found it. But I was really, really frustrated. I was like, is my game broken?
Yeah. So, for the future, if you press the whatever triangle is for you, in the triangle menu, the synopsis menu, the Tales games are real good at people play RPGs in fits and starts, and so it might be a couple of days since the last time you did it. So the synopsis menu will always have a flashing button telling you where you're supposed to go. And what you're supposed to do next.
I didn't know about. I knew that there was a synopsis menu, but I didn't know it did that.
Yeah, which tickled me pink a little bit earlier because you were like, all of the unprompted ones are tutorials, and I hate tutorials. I want the game to just teach you. And I'm like, well, the game doesn't have a tutorial for the synopsis menu, which ironically is the thing that would have saved
you. Thank you, game. I really appreciate that.
That's the age-old, like, where is the line, where it's like, no one likes tutorials, but if you don't tutorialize something, people won't know that it's there, and you have to find the balance there. And this game does not succeed on that balance, but I just think it's hilarious that you're like, oh, I want less tutorials. And I'm like, I think one more tutorial probably would have been good for you.
Or if you're me, have a better manual. It's not a good manual. It did not help me. I would rather just crack with the manual and read everything I need to know.
I will say too, I thought the synopsis menu was just like, this is the story so far. And
it is, but it also has battle tutorials, and the last line will always be something like, so Lloyd decided to go left to the forest or whatever.
The battle tutorials are not the most helpful, but they are helpful enough to be worth reading, I would say. I don't remember what I learned from them, but I do remember each one I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, the only other one that I had before we leave is there's a non-funny memorable moment we usually just make with the yucks right here, but this one I thought was really good. So the skit, I forget what it's called, but Genus is like, oh, so I guess the rumors are true. And Lloyd's like, what rumor? That Colette is the daughter of an angel and is not really related to her current father. And Lloyd says, even if you're not related by blood, family is family. At least that's what I think. And Genus is like, I'm sorry. And Lloyd's like, don't worry about it. Because Lloyd is really close to his dad, who is not his father. Which is another one that comes up where Kratos is like, hey, who's your father? And he's like, I don't know, but my dad is Dirk. So fuck you. Lloyd really doesn't like Kratos. It didn't really come across in what we talked about today, but every single skit is basically Lloyd saying, fuck you, Kratos. And my last one to end it on a happy note instead of a sad one is, so Rain and Kratos are like, the clothes that the assassin were wearing, don't you think that they were unique? Indeed, they aren't something you see every day. And Lloyd butts in, I know. I bet they're dwarven clothes. The ones that I'm wearing now were made by my father. Don't you think they look kind of similar? Lloyd wearing a double-breasted leather jacket and she wearing a kimono. Exactly the same. 100% exactly the same. And it's real funny. And I did just remember one that I didn't write down, but in the scene where you're getting banished, there's a big thing where Genus is like, hey, like, I did it. Like, Lloyd didn't do anything. It was all me. And I was like, oh no, they're about to do a racism against elves. But instead, they did a racism against dwarves. And I was like, oh, great. Because the Desians are half elves from another dimension, and Rain and Genus are elves. And so I was like, he's about to say something like, oh, well, you're probably working with them and you can't be trusted or something like that. But no, he was just like, oh, well, Lloyd did it. Well, no wonder. This is what happens when you're raised by dwarves or something. I'm like, whoa.
I gotta say, the only thing worse than elves is half elves. Am I right? You can't trust them. I'm saying.
Wow.
So Maddy is pro elf racism. You heard it here first.
This game is not causing me to rethink my biases re elves. So far, at least.
Well, Rain only just joined our party, and she will maybe change her mind. Rain is a wonderful.
We'll find out.
Yeah, stay tuned. See if we can cure Maddy's elf racism.
I'm pro dwarf and anti elf. Always have been. Always will be. Unless it's one of those games where you call them, quote, elves, but they're so far away from anything that you would stereotypically call an elf that it's like, okay, those don't. You can't just call anything an elf, okay?
These
doesn't count.
Half elephant, half insect group. They're the elves.
They're elves, game. Yeah. Or if you're playing, what is it? Vietnamese Pokemon Crystal, where the Pokemon are called elves.
Yes, that's great. Oh man, Vietnamese Pokemon Crystal is just a real treasure.
Love it.
Now, wait, does Vietnamese Pokemon Crystal come before or after Sailor Moon Crystal? In the Crystal universe.
The Crystal verse.
How does that relate to Steven Universe?
In the Crystal Chronicles is the catch-up show to like sum up everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's true.
But speaking of summing up, this year we played 4 great games, and we did not play 4 other great games. So if you would like us to play one of the 4 other games that we did not play, you can head over to our website, where by the time that you hear this, future Sam, this is a sign that you should go and make the poll. But there will be a poll on our website to vote between Final Fantasy X-2, Breath of Fire 4, Anachronox, and Hex's Force. So you can pick between one of those games that you would want us to play next in our Best of the Rest poll for this year. And the poll will be open the entire time here. So if you're just tuning in and you're like, oh, hey, I love Tales of Symphonia and I'm just checking these guys out, head on over to our website at www.rpgbook.club and vote on this poll.
Yep. I've normally I try to not put my finger on the scale here, and of course y'all know that I like good games and I also like stupid, awful bullshit. But this time around, though, because of what I mentioned in the beginning of the episode about how my life's going to be real hard for a while, I'm going to go ahead and say, if you like me and want my life to not be harder than it already is, vote for Hex's Force.
Yeah. Hex's Force's biggest complaint was that it was too easy.
Yeah.
And it's on the PSP and Vita where you have Game Shark codes, so you can make it ridiculously easy if you want to.
This is the one and only time I'm going to be completely chill with the game being too easy.
Yes. You can head over there. While you're there, as of yesterday, the public has started to get the Ko-Fi exclusive Book Club no Kiseki episodes. So if you liked what you heard yesterday and you're like, that sounds really dope, I want more of those, we got like a month's worth in the bag ahead of them. So you can go and check those out. There also is merch, and apologies to Vin. I still have not made the Legend of Dragoon shirt, but I will keep talking about it at the end of every episode to remind myself to actually make it so that you can get it. But other than that, I think that's all of the business. I didn't write it out this week. I normally do. But for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Altman. Oh, where we are stopping. That is it.
Yes.
Where we stopping.
That's the bit.
You did it.
Tales of Symphonia, guided walkthrough. Chapter 2 will be saving after we conclude stuff that happens at... this looks like it might be long. This might be too much. We'll see. But so for now, we are writing it in the in pencil that we will be stopping after Thoda Geyser, which is the water seal temple. Nope, that's chapter 3. We are stopping after Thoda Geyser, but not doing the water seal part of it. So we'll be stopping after Thoda Geyser and before we enter the village of adventurers Hima for the first time.
Okay,
that
sounds good.
May be too much. We'll see, but we'll talk about that and we'll tell you where we're stopping at the beginning of next episode. But for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Wallman.
I'm probably Sailor Eli.
Who fucking knows, man?
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye, toodaloo.
You know what we should do sometime? I want to pin in this. At some point, we should like a bonus episode or something where we like rank the battle themes from all the games.
Maybe we'll do that at 20. This game is 18, so we'll do that.
Or maybe rank every battle. Maybe do like a quick little ranking of battle themes, and then like do a ranking of like town themes. You know what I mean? Like all those.
We'll do a music special at the end of
that'd be real fun.
Season, whatever that is.
This one will probably be, I would say this one's probably solidly in the middle, although, you know how it is. Sometimes at the end of the game, it turns out that the battle theme was awesome.